So you're a veteran, you're looking at buying a home in Grand Rapids in 2026, and you've got questions. One of the biggest ones is probably about the budget, specifically the VA appraisal. Let's get right into it and give you a straight answer on what that's going to cost. All right, let's really dig in. The appraisal. I mean, it's such a critical step, right? And knowing that cost up front, that's everything when you're trying to build a solid budget without any nasty surprises. So, for real, how much should you be setting aside for this thing here in Grand Rapids?
We're not going to beat around the bush here. No need to wait till the end. Let's just get right to the point with the number you're probably going to see. This is the bottom line up front. Okay, so before I give you the number, just a quick heads up. This applies to, the most common situations. We're talking about your typical single-family home or a condo right there in the Grand Rapids area. And here it is, $625. Yep, $625. That is the official VA set fee for a standard home or condo in Grand Rapids for 2026. This is the number you want to plug into your budget as your starting point. Okay, so 625 is the number to remember for most folks, but it's not the only number. The kind of property you're buying can actually change the fee. And it makes sense, right? Some appraisals are just more complicated. Let's break down what that looks like. Yeah, you can really see the difference on this chart. So your standard single-family home, that's our baseline, 625. Now, a manufactured home, that bumps it up a little to 675. But if you're looking at something like a duplex or even a fourplex, well, that's a lot more work for the appraiser, so the cost jumps up to 800. So you might be wondering, where are these numbers even coming from? Are they just made up? Nope, not at all. They come directly from the official VA fee schedule. It's basically a regulated list of the maximum fees an appraiser can charge. The VA sets this up to make sure things are fair and predictable for veterans. And for us, here in Grand Rapids, we just follow the standard Michigan schedule.
All right, so we've got the cost down, but the fee itself is really just one piece of the puzzle. There's some other really important stuff to know, like timelines, and maybe some fine print. We should definitely get into those details.
Okay, here's a little insider tip. If you go looking for the Michigan fee schedule on your own, which you might, you'll see a special note for a couple of counties, Clare and Gladwin. I just want to be super clear, that does not apply to Grand Rapids or Kent County, so don't let that confuse you. You can stick with the standard pricing we've been talking about. So we've talked money, but what about time? Because when you're buying a house, the clock is always ticking, right? You've got deadlines. Well, the good news is, the VA doesn't just regulate the price. They actually set a standard for how fast you should get that report back. And for Michigan, that standard is 8 business days. That's the target the VA sets, right from the moment the appraiser gets the job to the moment they deliver that finished report. Definitely a key piece of info to mark on your calendar. One more thing to keep in mind here. That VA fee, it covers the appraisal. That's it. Period. It's not this big umbrella fee that covers other lender charges or your closing costs. Think of it as just one specific line item on your big closing statement. So you'll still need a budget for those other things separately. Okay, wow, we've covered a lot, haven't we? We've talked costs, timelines, even some of the weird little exceptions. So let's pull all of this together into one simple, super practical guide you can use for your planning. This is it. This is your cheat sheet. Everything we've just talked about, all in one spot. You can see each property type lined up, right? Single-family home at 625, all the way up to that multifamily at 800. And check it out, that 8 business day timeline, it's the same for all of them. Seriously, if you're going to screenshot one thing, make it this. And just to really nail it down, here's a great real-world example from the source material. Basically, if you're a veteran buying a typical 3-bedroom house in Grand Rapids with a VA loan, you should plan on about $625 for that appraisal. Simple as that. All right, so now you've got the numbers. You know the costs for different properties, and you know the timeline for a VA appraisal right here in Grand Rapids. So what now? What's your next move? How are you going to take this info and plug it into your own home buying budget?